Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So actually quite a couple of you guys asked me during the past weeks to make a video about the impact of the global pandemic on the fashion market, especially on the luxury fashion market. And since I myself am working in the fashion industry, I am of course extremely involved in that whole part of the situation. But on the other hand, I still wanted to wait out just a couple of more weeks to gather more information so that I could provide you with the best video I could make. Also, I didn't just want to focus on one specific part of the impact of the current pandemic on the fashion industry. So many YouTubers right now are making videos on only price increases or things like that, but I really wanted to give you more of a sum up of current trends, current developments, and also current theories on how this whole situation could develop into potential outcomes of the current situation, so that you just have an overview of it all. So if you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Evelyn. I'm talking about fashion, mindful shopping, investment pieces, and smart indulgence in luxury. And if you happen to enjoy what I do here, please make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and also please consider following me on Instagram. So which outcomes could this pandemic actually bring us in terms of the luxury fashion market? I do not think that at this point we have to discuss so much about what the impact right now is. However, to sum it up for you, the global fashion market experienced a contraction of around 30% due to the global pandemic. And not just that, due to the current situation, countless strategies and marketing opportunities that are a established part of the fashion industry fell apart, such as fashion weeks. And I think that by now the fashion industry, or the brands and the companies, we are just about to grasp the actual consequences and what this situation will actually mean for the industry. There are a couple of different points, perspectives, and theories that I would like to go through. And these are topics and trends that are, very, very strongly discussed right now. So the first of them is, will we as consumers become more mindful in regards of sustainability, transparency, and ethics when it comes to, fashion brands? Due to the fact that, people across the globe were in quarantine and were under lockdown for many, many weeks, even months, there is the certain trend or zeitgeist that people stopped actually buying fashion, even ordering fashion online, and they rather turned to spend their money on more beauty or home and living things like interior stuff, or even workout related items. But also this forced shopping quarantine also could have changed the mindsets of many people regarding their own shopping behavior. If you're sitting at home, maybe you don't even are able to work from home, you have lots of time on your hands, so that people basically started to reflect more about their old shopping behavior, and therefore they grew a more mindful or critical and skeptical mindset. I think that this outcome or this movement would be something that our world really needs, and it would be something that I would be quite pleased about. It would be extremely beneficial for our world to finally make this shift, and it would be something that, as horrible as the situation is right now, it would bring us so many benefits. It would be a very, very strong and powerful movement. And that also leads me to the second point, which is, will trends lose their status, their importance in our shopping behavior? So because of the fact that fashion weeks have been cancelled, productions, laid low for months, and stores were closed, companies were left with a completely disrupted supply chain and production plan. So what will actually happen to our seasons now? On Business of Fashion, I've read that there is already a initiative or a small movement of fashion designers. They are all led by Dries van Noten. And they actually wrote down an open letter to the fashion industry, to all the other brands, asking to quit seasons or seasonal planning altogether anyway. And just last week, actually, Alessandro Michele, the creative director of Gucci, announced that Gucci will now cancel seasonal planning indeed. So instead of producing, let's say, 6 or 8 collections per year, they will go back to only producing 2 collections per year, and they will, come out basically whenever they want and whenever they feel it's the right time. Also, I talked to a person who works at Chanel, and they are also most likely to cancel their pre-fall collection just because of the fact that they lost so many months due to the lockdown, that coming up with 3 more collections until the actual fall collection is just not enough time. And they are already delayed anyway. They will most likely just skip that entirely and move on with launching the fall collection in late summer. And this aspect itself also has so many, multiple dimensions and layers to it. So why do we even have so many seasons, The luxury business actually also was impacted strongly during the past, decade, let's say, due to the fact that fast fashion brands produced fashion in such an extremely fast way. Fast fashion companies, they bring out new collections every 2 weeks. And also, on the other hand, internet and online media consumption and e-commerce did lead to a much higher pressure on luxury brands, which used to only work with 2 collections per year. So nowadays, this is like old history, because the shopping behavior of the consumers and also the expectations of finding something new every time when they enter the store just has risen so extremely. And that is why even in the luxury world, we kind of have a fast fashion status going on when it comes to the frequency and the pressure that they have to bring out something new constantly. Brands do collaborations with artists or with musicians all the time. They have capsule collections all the time. They bring out the pre-season, the main season, the cruise seasons, and therefore you just have this turnaround in collections that is very wasteful, that is very harsh when it comes to nature. And I think that therefore going back from that and moving back towards a more sustainable and long-term thought out seasonal plan is something that we need, honestly. And because of the fact that for like almost 2 months, trendiness wasn't really like a thing and wasn't playing like a role whatsoever in our lives, it may be the case that many of us will be or will end up being, disillusioned by trends and their importance in our lives or in our fashion sense, and just, move on to a certain minimalism when it comes to fashion. On the other hand, I think there's also another movement that I am constantly also observing myself, and that is revenge shopping. So it's basically the absolute opposite of what I was talking about right now when it comes to our own shopping behavior. And this is something that I find absolutely fascinating, to be honest, as well. So revenge shopping is a term that I also read in Business of Fashion for the first time. And it was a term that they used to describe the shopping behavior of, I think, Chinese younger, like millennial consumers once they got out of quarantine and were able to consume again. And they actually had like huge waves of people, coming to the stores. Their desire for new items and for new fashion, especially when it comes to luxury, was even bigger. So they just called it like revenge shopping. And this is actually something that I am also observing in my surrounding right now. So in Germany, all the boutiques, all the stores are opened, and they have been open for quite a couple of weeks now. And from day one, I would see lines of people in front of Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Chanel, Dior, Hermes, in front of huge department stores, but also in front of outlets and fast fashion stores like H&M or Zara. So of course these lines also tend to build up because of the fact that we have hygiene and health regulations in place, so less people are allowed in the store, so of course it's much more likely that a line builds up. However, that might be of course the case when it comes to fast fashion stores, because of course usually they just let in people randomly anyway and their entrance is not regulated whatsoever. But when it comes to luxury stores, we all know that luxury stores do not let in an infinite amount of people to begin with. And the lines that I saw, especially in front of Louis Vuitton, were so extremely long that I think it doesn't really matter if, you know, there is a hygiene regulation in place that says only half of the people can enter the store. The line was like 100 meters long, so that it is quite clear to me that there are just larger amounts of people that want to shop right now and that want to, you know, indulge again and that want to consume again and that want to, you know, distract themselves from those past months that were really, really hard for all of us. I mean, times are still weird and hard for all of us anyway. And as much as the outcome number one, like the theory that I talked about, you know, in the beginning, would be desirable and something great for our society and for our economical system, I also think that, you know, observing things like revenge shopping is just something that I'm not really, you know, surprised by, because we are living in a capitalistic society and economical system. And as annoying as this may sound, it just is what it is. We are all conditioned to consume, and we also actually need to consume in order to hold our economic system stable. You know, if we don't spend money now, brands and stores and industries will suffer even more, and even more people will actually lose their jobs. So it all connects together anyway. So I think that the whole revenge shopping trend is also extremely, let's say, interesting for me at least to observe. And of course, the revenge shopping trend is also something that is due to the fact that we have markdowns and markups. I think we are all familiar with, I already talked about the Chanel price increase in one of my previous videos. You know, many people like Sophie Shohet also say that they think that many other luxury brands will do it as well. So, you know, for example, Louis Vuitton also already increased their prices, and many people think that other brands will follow and also increase their prices. Many retailers are forced to work with crazy markdowns and sales at an early stage of the season. At least here in Germany and in Europe, our sale usually really starts in June, so like in mid-June, like 2 weeks from now. And due to the current situation, many retailers were forced to actually already start with like sales and discount codes and things like that 2 months ago in April. And besides all of this, the pre-loved market was also striving more than ever, because more people than ever were actually selling their items, because they either just had the time on their hands to finally sell some items, or on the other hand, because many people actually needed that money. And that also led to the fact that for a quite short period of time, some prices on, you know, bags and things like that were actually quite good. However, if I look at the pre-loved market right now, if I look at, you know, Chanel bags especially, I do not see amazing prices, honestly. Of course, due to the fact that the Chanel prices have been increased massively, the prices on the pre-loved market already have been risen as well, and they like readjusted, obviously. I honestly don't think that, you know, this is the right moment to buy a pre-loved bag. And then last but not least, there is a lot of controversy going on when it comes to marketing opportunities and campaigns that companies are like starting now again. And by that I mean specifically the latest promotion of the new Louis Vuitton bag. So Louis Vuitton is currently running a massive influencer campaign as usual to promote their new bag creation, and because of that, of course, many people are upset that they are doing like the whole big influencer thing again, which I also agree on that this is something that is quite annoying and not the smartest way to do marketing in 2020. However, there is also a bunch of people who actually also say that Louis Vuitton or like brands in general, they should not do any marketing campaigns right now. They should not propose products to people in general right now in a situation like that. They say that it is insensitive to basically do marketing and do business in a situation like that. And to that I have to say, I don't know if this is like an unpopular opinion, and I already said that a couple of minutes before, we need to be spending money. So you can't be anxious about people losing their jobs on the one hand, or industries collapsing and companies breaking down, and then on the other hand say that companies should not do business right now because they need to do business in order to stay in business. They need to do business in order to keep their employees safe. And you know, I think that still people sometimes have that very naive idea of the fashion industry. The fashion industry is one of the 3 biggest industries globally. Millions and millions of people are employed within the fashion industry. So many people will actually lose their jobs, you know, people like us, not just the fancy designers or celebrity people. You know what I mean? So many people will lose their jobs if fashion brands will not do something right now. We can discuss like the whole influencer approach as much as we can, because I mean, if you have been following me, you already know that I am very critical towards that. However, I would never encourage a brand like Louis Vuitton to not do marketing or not do business whatsoever at this point, because they need it. We need it. So that was basically my wrap up of all of the theories and all of the possible outcomes and all of the things and movements that are currently happening on the fashion market. I hope you did find it interesting, informative, and let me know what you think. Like, let me know which theory or which movement you think will be the most impactful, and if there are any more like scenarios or aspects of all of this that I may have forgotten, in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.